Hi. So lately, I have been talking to a lot of people one on one in my audience, not just through the comments, but like face to face through a Zoom call. And some things that I have noticed keep on recurring among everyone. So it doesn't matter if you have experience, certifications, or degrees, or if you're trying to change from a completely unrelated field, these issues come up over and over again. And to give it a little bit more real, tangible example, I'm going to pretend that I am going to change my career into a realist oil painting. Now, while cybersecurity and oil painting may seem to have nothing in common, they do have the fact that they're both technical skills and they're not highly regulated by the government. So let's get into it. The first problem that I see among a lot of people that are trying to change their career into cybersecurity is that they think that they have to know everything about cybersecurity. That is completely false. If you quiz me on like cybersecurity terms and what law podula is, I might actually just not pass that quiz. You really only need enough knowledge to get a job, basically, and then you only need enough working knowledge to perform the tasks at your job. You're going to have a set of tasks that you do, and they're going to get repetitive after a while, and you're going to wonder why you had to memorize all of the encryption methods to reset a password. There are foundations of every type of skill. For instance, in my realist oil painting career change that I may or may not make, the foundation of oil painting is perception, value, color, and edge. And if I can master just those four things, then I could actually become a pretty good oil painter. Should I go out and memorize everything about the old Dutch masters and where they lived and all of their paintings, along with all of the different brush strokes and the names of the brush strokes and how they make oil paints and the type of oil that they make it with, and then the process of doing that? Should I do that to become a good oil painter and change my career? Absolutely not. So I'm not sure why we do this with other fields such as cybersecurity. The main gist of cybersecurity and the main foundations of cybersecurity is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And if you can grasp those three things, you're going to have a solid foundation of the entire field and how everything relates to those three things, and why all of these controls are implemented, and why these regulations are made, and why we have this there, and all of that. You don't need to know CCNA level knowledge to become and work in cybersecurity. You don't need to know all of the encryption methods to work in cybersecurity. The next really common issue that I see with people who are wanting to change their career into cybersecurity is that they're picking up skill sets that have nothing to do with a targeted job. Your approach to landing a job as quickly as possible is it should be targeted, and you should only acquire the specific skill set that you need to know. For instance, in my oil painting example, to become a realist oil painter, would I need to learn how to use colored pencils? I'm trying to really learn oil painting, so why would I learn colored pencils? That's not going to really get me to become a realist oil painter. That will get me to become like a realist colored penciler, if that exists in the world. I think it does. Make sure that you understand the skill set you need for your targeted job and then how to acquire it. And then present that in a way, in a portfolio that shows that you can implement those things. I don't know how many people have told me that they're wanting to become a SOC analyst, yet they are learning Metasploit. Or they want to do GRC, but they're learning Python. Or they want to do cloud security, yet they're like learning, I don't know, vulnerability management, although that could be tied to cloud security. The next really common thing that I see is resume that doesn't reflect your true skill or showcase you in a desirable light. I have looked at a lot of resumes at this point in my life, and most people's resumes are not reflective of their true skill or their potential. This would be very similar to me sending out a portfolio of work to directors at art schools, and my paintings weren't really reflective of my actual skill or accomplishment, but it's just kind of something that I like threw together in a few hours and didn't really put much thought into, do you think my rate of callbacks from these art directors would be very high? The answer would be no. Nobody would call me back. And it's because I didn't present my skills in a way that made me desirable to call back. Your resume must show that you are qualified for that targeted job. Don't make a general resume and then keyword stuff it with a bunch of things that you hope the ATS system will pick up, because people know what you're doing. You're opening yourself up for potential questions about that you may or may not know. The next common mistake that I have seen with people wanting to change their career into cybersecurity is they're not leveraging their past experience. Most of the people who watch this channel are over the age of 30 and have a lot of work experience behind them. Maybe there is a lingo gap, so maybe you don't know how your previous skills apply to the next job that you are creating, but I guarantee you've worked something to do with security, whether that is confidentiality of like student data or maybe patient data, integrity, and also availability. If you've ever worked with any one of those, or safeguard data, or safeguard processes, or create procedures and processes and ensure that people were in compliance with them, that can be tied back to security. Or maybe you come from more of a trade background. You have probably really good troubleshooting and problem solving abilities that maybe not a lot of people do have, because that is definitely a skill many people lack. You just may not realize it. I get all of the time. I work in digital forensics. How do I get into cybersecurity? You are already in cybersecurity. It's a huge field, and digital forensics falls underneath cybersecurity. But if you ever say done patching computers, that falls underneath vulnerability management. And that's a common thing in IT. To relate it back to my oil painting example, I would maybe, to leverage my previous cybersecurity background into my oil painting career, I would maybe start with paintings that are related to tech somehow and that I can sell them to a tech audience. Actually, I don't see anyone doing that. There might be a reason. I know the psyche of someone who works in the technical field. I know how to create content, and so I could definitely use that to launch my new career as an artist. For instance, I'm not really that good at it right now. So what I would do is I would probably just do a painting every day for a year and then stream it on Twitch. And then that is basically how I would jumpstart my career, social media. The next super common thing that I see is focusing too much on certifications and degrees. Everyone pushes like certifications and degrees on you, and I think I have probably been guilty of it. And in some industries, such as the Department of Defense in the United States, you absolutely need a CompTIA Security Plus per 8570 requirements. In other industries, it's just a kind of nice to have, and it can help you get past HR. The thing is, you only need one certification or maybe even two certifications at most. After that, it's a completely like pointless and huge waste of your time to get any certifications after that. A degree that you get in 6 months is not going to help you pass a technical interview or gain the skills that you need. Also, I've wasted tons and tons of time on degrees and certifications, and honestly, it was just a huge waste of time. And what I should have done is I should have just created projects around it. And with ChatGPT, that literally has never been easier, as now I can basically do anything. To relate it back to realist oil painting career change, would I spend all my time going to art school or getting all of these painting certifications and all of that? Absolutely not. It'd be a huge waste of my time, because the only thing that matters is skill, and nobody is going to purchase my degree or certification credentials. They're going to purchase my art because they like it and it shows that I have technical skill, and they just like it basically. The next really common thing that I see with career changers is that they think they're too old. I get this all the time. I am 30 or I am 40. Am I too old? Have I missed the time frame that I should be at, or something like that, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me, because I am past the age of 30 and I feel like I haven't even started yet, right? Like, I'm already planning on changing my career. I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to become like an artist," which is completely different from what I'm doing right now, which is a cybersecurity professional. You're not too old to change your career really at any point. As long as you just enjoy learning and you are curious, I don't understand why being 30 or even 40 or 50 would even cross your mind. As you can definitely leverage that into a position as you are more mature. And so you probably are better at managing people. You can learn any skill at any age. The next really common thing that I see is that you think you are too dumb or that you're like not smart enough to work in cybersecurity or the tech field. The same thing goes in art. People are like, oh, you're just born with talent or you're just naturally creative. But the thing is that skills can be acquired. You don't need to be talented or creative to learn realism oil painting. You just need to practice and hone in on your skill. The same thing goes for cybersecurity. You just need to practice and hone in on your skills. And maybe you didn't do well in school, like you are bad at taking tests. That doesn't really correlate to how well you would perform your job at all. You're not going to be doing much taking tests or watching lectures or doing homework at your job. It's about having a growth mindset and thinking you can learn anything versus a fixed mindset where you think intelligence and things of that are a fixed thing. False. The next common problem that I see is trying to do everything by yourself. So if you're trying to change your career into cybersecurity with just free resources or watching a bunch of videos or just going from course to course, you're going to stay there for a really long time, for over a year, because there are so many differing opinions on the internet that your mind is going to be a complete mess. And without a community or any type of support, chances are you're going to quit at like the first sign of discouragement. And this is because I know, like, I would have quit this YouTube channel if it weren't for the encouragement of one person. And that was like Shane Hummus when I first started this YouTube channel. I totally would have quit. I was like, this isn't possible for me. But now look, it was totally possible. If you're just listening to Reddit, which is super negative, there's no one on there saying about how successful they are. That one person can really be a lifeline into a new era of your life. So it takes a lot of courage to change your career from something that you have been doing for maybe 10, 20 years. And doing it alone takes an intense amount of grit. And most people aren't going to actually do it by themselves. Speaking of that, if you would like to work with me directly, I do have a mentorship experience where I help you go through the process of changing your career into cybersecurity or maybe even tech. I help you figure out the technical skills and I have training on that, but I also help you with the interview process, your resume, and making sure that it reflects what someone in the security field would look for. I help you with the negotiation process and the job hunt process so you have the highest chance possible of changing your career as quickly as possible into cybersecurity. If you would like to work with me directly, where I take an active investment in your results, I do have that link below in the description. I hope to see you there, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.